Hey everybody, welcome back to Mind Warp Radio. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about how cash envelope stuffing changed my relationship to money. So if you haven't heard of cash envelope stuffing before, it's pretty much an envelope system used to empower yourself financially through budgeting. So the way this is done is however often you get paid, you would go to the bank and withdraw your earnings in cash, and then you take it home and you divide up the cash into various categories. You divide it up depending on what your savings goals are or what your expenses are, and it can vary depending on you personally, so you get to choose what categories you are putting away for. There are a couple reasons I think this method of budgeting is very beneficial. One of them being it enables you to physically see where your money is going because you kind of have your cash divided into these preset categories. And personally, I think cash in itself is helpful because for me, it's easy to swipe a card and not actually realize what I'm spending on or how much I'm spending on something that may not even be a necessity. It kind of might just be an in-the-moment expense. I think this allows you to gain control of your finances and to see how far you can actually stretch your income. Before I started doing this, I was living paycheck to paycheck pretty much every single week, and when I started cash stuffing, the result was I realized I could stretch my money so much farther than I would have ever realized if I hadn't started it. Also, this budgeting system can really help you reach savings goals faster because each week you're putting away into a certain category and you're seeing how much money you have and how much extra you have to be putting to savings. So I wanted to talk about how to get started budgeting this way and also my process of doing so. So my first tip would be go on YouTube and just search up cash envelope budgeting or cash stuffing, and you'll see a ton of videos and a ton of resources of people doing this weekly. So I actually discovered this by accident on YouTube through a channel called Monet's Money, and she's amazing. As soon as I started watching her videos, I knew immediately that yes, I need to hop onto this bandwagon because it's clearly effective. So I would definitely recommend doing some YouTube research and specifically looking up Monet's Money. My next tip would be make this system work for you. Everybody has slightly different expenses and a slightly different way they would even want to go about it. Some people, for example, they'll divide everything into the cash envelopes. They'll have an envelope for rent, utilities, insurance, as well as savings goals or various other categories like dining out, categories like that. So I would say write out the categories you'd like to personally budget for in these envelope systems. As far as envelopes go, I should say you can obviously buy them or you can make them. I've seen on Etsy certain people will sell envelopes for this exact purpose, so you can always look on there. You could just use standard letter envelopes, which is definitely a viable option. Or if you want to make it cute and, DIY a little bit, you can make them yourself. Personally, what I did is I went to Michael's and I just bought a bunch of that printed paper, with different patterns and cute stuff on it. So I got some of that and I actually folded it into an envelope, and I used glue sticks to make them nice and cute. If anybody's interested, I will probably post on my Mind Warp Radio Instagram just the envelopes I made, and I could go into more detail. But, I would say make it your own, DIY it if you want, or just buy some envelopes, but you will definitely need some. I'd also recommend getting a lockbox with keys to keep it in, so that way, just in case, somebody would stumble upon it that shouldn't have, they can't just get in and take the money that's in there. So I definitely recommend keeping it in a safe place, like a lockbox, as well as, hiding it out of plain sight. Another tip, which for me is really important, kind of going along with the lockbox vibe. So say whatever amount it is for you that you don't really feel comfortable keeping on your person, I would say when you get to a certain amount in a category, whatever, deposit it into your savings. For me, it's like a separate savings account, and I still have written down what I have allocated that money towards. The budgeting still exists, but it's not on me anymore just in case something would happen to it. It's deposited. I also find it really helpful to keep track of how much money I'm depositing into the envelopes every week and how much I'm depositing into each category, as well as the total amount that's in that category. So I do that every week, just add everything up and I keep track of it in a little handwritten notebook, basically. Something else I did to help me along this process was I went onto my bank app and I just looked at every single transaction I had for maybe 2 months just to get a good eye of everything. And I wrote down all of my monthly recurring expenses. This also helped me minimize some subscriptions that I wasn't really using anymore or that just weren't benefiting my life anymore. So I went through, did that, canceled those subscriptions. Now I'm pretty much just getting into my process, but so from that point, what I did was I wrote down in a little note in my phone, I wrote a list of every single bill that I have to pay every month. And the way I personally do this budgeting system, and this is why I say make it work for you, because some people, for example, they'll have a rent category and a utility category, and they'll do everything with the cash system. But what I do is every bill that comes directly out of my bank account, I leave that money in my bank account. So say I'm doing rent, right? Say my rent is $20 a month. Obviously, that's a made-up number. But I base everything on a 4-week month. So I wrote down all my bill amounts, and for each amount, I divided that by 4. So say I have rent, that's $20 a month. I would divide that by 4, and I get $5. I need to keep $5 in my bank account every week for rent. And say my utilities are also $20 a month, and then I would keep that $5 in my bank account every week. So say it's payday then, right? I get paid $30 for the week, and I already know 5 of my dollars are going to rent and 5 are going to utilities, meaning I need to keep $10 in there. So I would go to the bank and I would take out $20, and I leave the $10 that I know has to be used for my bills in the bank. So if you're listening, I'm really not trying to talk to anyone, like you're in kindergarten. Personally, I'm just really bad at math. So I'm trying to break it down into the simplest explanation I can, which might be making it more complicated. But just to reiterate, I wrote down every single bill I have every month. And then next to each bill's name, I wrote down that bill's amount every month. And then I divided each individual amount by 4 based on a 4-week month to get the amount I would need to keep in the bank each week. Because I found out how much money I need to keep in the bank every single week, I'm able to withdraw anything above that out of the bank, and I just don't use my card. For the most part, I'll use cash. So I withdraw any excess income that isn't going directly to bills out of the bank, and I divide it between my cash envelopes. And for me, some of my categories are groceries, gas, spending, dining out, my cat fund for my cat Lincoln, car maintenance. And if there's anything specific I want to save for, I can also make a category for that and slowly put my extra income toward the categories that align with my savings goals. So again, I do apologize if this made it more confusing, but in short, just make it work for you. You could literally do whatever you want with this system. And my favorite part about this little 4-week system that I made up is if I'm in a month where it's 5 weeks, since my bills are already covered based on the 4 weeks, I could literally just withdraw my entire paycheck on the 5th week and put it towards my savings. And this really helps me stay super clear on where my money is going, and it's helped me reach my savings goals so quickly. And I'm no longer living paycheck to paycheck, which I was for literally years. And when I say so quickly, I just mean so much more quickly than before I was doing this system, because I would just spend all my money and not realize it, and then I wouldn't have any money to put towards things I needed to save for, like when I had car trouble. And this has helped me to stretch my money on a fairly limited income. So yeah, it's basically just been so empowering for me, and the reason I wanted to share it is because money sucks, and I also think we live in a very materialistic and consumerism driven society, so it can be really easy to, and I'm not saying, there are certain things that are obviously out of your control, but this process taught me that I can really use my finances to my advantage, which I just never realized before. And I think a big part of that is because we live in a society that teaches us buy. If you see something you like it, get it, put it on credit. blah, blah, blah. Another positive about this is if I have saved for something that I know I need. For example, one of my categories is actually a health category, and I use it for vitamins, skincare, stuff like that. So if I need to get some skincare stuff or some vitamins that I ran out of, I know that I've been saving for this, so I don't need to feel bad when I dip into that fund and spend it on skincare because I put it away over multiple weeks for that exact reason. But yeah, I just wanted to share this today because it feels important to talk about. I know money is definitely a touchy subject, and I understand why. I know everybody's situation is different, but this process really taught me that I could use my finances to my advantage, and it was very freeing. And I hope if anyone feels called to look deeper into this, that it can be freeing and empowering for you too. So my last words of advice, like I've said a couple times, but make this system work for you. I would say do some more research, go on YouTube and search up cash envelope stuffing. Like I said, I found out about this due to Monet's Money, a channel on YouTube, and she's awesome. And it could just be a fun little DIY project. And truly, this has changed my relationship with money, I think, forever. So I'm really grateful that I stumbled upon this concept. And just because you may step into this cash envelope stuffing realm, it doesn't mean you have to be a perfect budgeter. I'm not a perfect budgeter. There are some weeks where I'll overspend on eating out or something, but I just make up for it the next week. So yeah, you don't have to be perfect. And with that being said, I just wanted to leave you with a little ASMR. Okay, so I'm sitting here with my lockbox. Okay, now I'm going to open it. Sorry, that was a little bit loud. Alright, we've got a calculator. I have my notebook that I keep track of everything in. I have my envelopes here, my handmade envelopes, which are really fucking cute. Thank you. Health, spending, taxes, dine out, pets, car maintenance, groceries, gas, music, travel. Now, I will remove a few of the bills from the envelope. This is the section of the ASMR where we're manifesting money and abundance. Do you like the sound of these $1 and $5 bills? How about now? This is our money manifestation. with that being said, I'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much.